Hello everyone, welcome back to our tutorial. Today's episode we'll be learning about what is a function, and a function is basically a block of code that runs when we call it. So for example, the ready function is run when the game starts. So if I reload the game, it'll print this is my ready function. So it is run every time the scene is ready, if that makes sense. So another thing that we can do is basically say this is my function, and then we will print this here instead, and then we will call the function in the ready function, and we should get that. Another way to kind of see that this works is we're going to get the process function. What this does is it's a function in Godot that gets called, I think, once every or 60 times a second, something like that. So it's called quite a bit. And so what we'll do is we'll just call that, and it'll start butchering our computer, and boom. So we'll just stop that so we don't overload. We'll go back to ready function, and now that we know that that works, there you go. Another thing that a function can do is take in variables. In Gdscript, it likes to say var as in variable, and then you can also define what kind of variable it is. So we will say int, and then up here, we have to call an int as well. So now if I do int or print a, it should just print 1. Awesome. You can also do it without the variable. Gdscript is very nice, but it is good to get into the habit of doing something like this, because in other languages like Python, C, C++, and C and C# really like this. They really don't like when you just do this. Like if you just did this, this is fine, this will work, but it doesn't like this. It has no idea what A is. Usually it'll look like this, but in Gdscript, that won't work. So what we will do is this. That is how we call a integer. We can also call another one. So what we can do is we'll say b, and we'll say this one is a string. And then we will print b. My number. And then if we run it, it'll say my number and then that thing. Yeah, so what can a function be used for? Well, it's very useful for a lot of things, really. I will use this sort of structure a lot of the time in my games. So, for example, a perfect example is if I want to set the label to a certain text on ready, I will usually call it in a function. So, for example, we will say self.text equals to b. We can actually do this instead. We can do a plus b, which I think shouldn't error. Awesome. Let's run it. Hopefully it runs. It won my number. Okay. Let's do it the other way, actually, so it looks nicer. I think we can also go back in here. Or no, we don't have to. It'll just say my number 1. Awesome. So this is going to run just once. The advantage to doing this is, let's say I'm switching scenes and I want the text to be something else, right? So I will call that scene and then I will call this function within certain parameters. So if I were to just say the text is equal to this in my ready function like that, and I said my number plus 1, I can't change it. However, if I set a function, I can change it. So let's say I did 3. I think it's easy. I changed it. Yeah, that's kind of it. For functions, they can get very complicated very fast. But this is the basics of it. I hope this helps. If you like my video, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. See you guys.